And if you guys want to join from your link again. It's working? Okay. I'm just checking chat. Okay, so we're gonna start again. I just read some ayat from Surah. Yeah, I just read some ayat from Surah Al-Baqarah, and we just started before we got interrupted from this technology. That the month of Ramadan is month of Quran, and we say this based on this ayah that this is the month in which Quran was descended from Lohil Mahfuz, the higher heavens, to the our heaven, upper sky. And from there, the angel Jibril was bringing this Quran over the next 23 years of Prophet's life. So imagine these first ayat were coming during the month of Ramadan. And based on traditions, these were one of the odd nights during the last 10 days of Prophet's life that Ramadan came. So it's a month of Quran, and this should be on our mind as we are entering this month, this blessed month. And we should see how these both things, Ramadan and Quran, they unite the whole Muslim community throughout the whole world. There are certain worships and ibadat, and this is the hikmah, this is the wisdom behind these ibadat. We stand up for prayers 5 times a day. There's azan throughout the world for the same thing, that we are united in this ibadah. Similarly, this special month comes, Ramadan, where everybody fasts throughout the whole world. Also a big significance of unity amongst Muslims, that we are all together celebrating this blessed month. And same is the emphasis of other ibadat. You can go on and on. For example, Hajj, where it's the display of the biggest gathering of the Muslim community in a year, also showing the same emphasis, same hikmah, that we are here together celebrating these ibadat or worshipping. So that's one part of this. And then second thing, as I said, this is related to Quran, and this is the book which is also a big reason that this Muslim community is united, because the message is preserved, and God Himself has taken upon the preservation of Quranic ayat, the verses, till the day of judgment. Nobody can change. There are millions of those who have memorized the Quran. Now it's online, everywhere recorded. So that's the biggest thing which unites Muslim community. So going into month, just we should have this emphasis of Quran. So that also means how we can, entering into this month, connect with Quran more and open it, because this is a hope for individual level and the community level. Allah calls it rope of Allah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. You hold on to this rope of Allah, and that's the only hope that we will return to Him in a successful way. Um, there are various things we can discuss, including how you begin your fast, how you end your fast. We can discuss what you should be doing during the fast, what's the ibadat, and the special prayers that we perform after we open the fast, at home or especially in masajid. So we'll go over few of those, maybe by your questions and then answers to those. But I just wanted to share this introductory remarks how to connect Quran with Ramadan. Rasma, you gonna add something?
No.
Just continue. Okay. Okay. There are certain things we need to also at a spiritual level be ready when we are entering Ramadan. As you all know, inshallah, Ramadan will start on Mondays. And we should be, when we say, are we ready? So it means two things. Are we spiritually ready and are we physically ready? So when I say spiritually ready, that means, it's not like Monday starts and that's when, God forbid, if I am one of those or we are one of those who don't pray every day, and that's I'm gonna start prayers. We should try to connect with our beautiful religion and start, performing. If we are not the regular prayer once, we should start praying every day. Start with one, two, three, whatever you can start from. If we are those who pray every day, but we are not the 5 times a day prayers, we are one of those. Sometimes we miss. Try to not miss these salat as we are entering Ramadan. Try to make a routine of, doing the salat or the prayers, the 5 prayers at their time. This is very important. And then this is how spiritually we're going to connect with Ramadan as we are entering. Because as you know, in Ramadan, our Iman level goes very high. And sure, we want to reach that highest Iman level with our worship duties as well. But it becomes difficult as we are entering and we are not used to. And the second thing, which I just said, we should start connecting to the Book of Allah. We should start reading, because when Ramadan comes, you naturally want to read more. So you enter this month of Ramadan welcoming it with the ibadat that you already in anticipation of this month started. So these are few spiritual and mental readiness. You start, it's like a big, very important guest is coming to your house. You don't start cleaning up your house and making all the things ready for that guest when the guest arrives. You want to prepare your home before that guest arrives. And Ramadan is the most important guest in this year, and we're gonna welcome this month with all the preparation we can. So this is something, spiritually we need to think entering this month. Then there are some physical aspects that we need to prepare to some extent before we enter Ramadan. And this includes our, for example, we can, go on and go on about examples, but mainly I'm going to hit few highlights. Our waking up and sleeping patterns. That how is that before entering Ramadan, and then we're gonna enter Ramadan suddenly. I'm just sharing, like, suhoor is is an important component of Ramadan and fasting. Prophet advised that you should eat something before Fajr starts. It may be a date or a glass of water or something to fulfill that sunnah. So, are we all going to be able to wake up that early suddenly on Monday morning? Or should we start making some routine going entering into Ramadan? Maybe this next 3 4 days we should try to wake up as early as we can and perform Fajr at this time. So this is again our sleep habits, our patterns. Are we able to do it? Also comes in the physical readiness is how is our eating and drinking habits. So yes, we enjoy our good breakfast every day throughout the year, the lunch, and people like me who drink like 4 or 5 cup of coffee to just keep running and keep pushing yourself throughout the day. We need to think about, hey, now suddenly Monday comes and Ramadan starts, and now I don't even see 1 cup of coffee for the whole day, and I'm not gonna drink coffee most likely throughout the Ramadan because it's either Fajr time or Maghrib time, and you don't want to do at Maghrib because you won't be able to sleep then on time. So, am I ready to wean off myself from these stimulants? How is my lunch habits are? Am I just the one who fulfills his stomach all the time at lunch, or should I cut down a few days before because I know I'm going to be fasting now? So these are few of the physical habits we need to worry before entering Ramadan. So again, I am talking about some things which you prepare yourself before entering Ramadan. Also, combine physical and spiritual activities. How is your day goes? Uh, for example, after hours. If we are the ones who are very keen to, whenever we go home, have dinner and start watching TV, news, whatever we need to do, or other routines we have, and now suddenly I have to change myself on Monday, maybe join Taraweeh prayers. I should start kind of preparing myself and also family, and start discussions at home. Hey, this is how is Ramadan is going to be. So let's start preparing that before the Ramadan starts. So these are a few of the major highlights I wanted to share that we should start thinking about before entering Ramadan. And then have a good niyyah. This niyyah, the intention that I'm doing this for God. And this is why Prophet Hadith sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his tradition is where this is again a Hadith Qudsi, which is Prophet is just interpreting the words given by God, that Allah says that He will reward everything according to the actions, but the fasting is for me. And when when Mufassirin, the scholars, they describe this hadith, they explain that every action Allah will reward between 10 and 700 times. So if you, for example, give a dollar's worth of charity, He may reward you from 10 to 700 times. But when came to fasting, Allah said, it's for me. It means the rewards are endless. So this is one of the interpretation of this hadith. So Allah knows your intention. You did this fasting for your God, to please Him, because He said so. And He didn't say this just to uh, Prophet ﷺ and his followers, in other words, Muslims. But this fasting was enjoined upon for the people before Prophet ﷺ, the followers of other prophets. So this is also, I didn't go through the surah earlier, but kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala allazina min qablikum. So Allah mentions in the Quran that this is same responsibility for you, O Muslims, as it was responsibility for people before you. So again, this is some in order of the God, and being His abd, His servant, we are fulfilling that order, just like we fulfill all the other ibadah. And during this fulfillment, especially fasting has a very high value in God's eyes, because you cannot do fasting to show off, like maybe other ibadah. Again, you should have good opinion about everybody, but it's we know our hearts. Sometimes we, for example, come and start praying in front of other people because we want to look religious. Sometimes we are giving more charity in front for other people because we want to look very generous. So these are obvious doings. Hajj is obvious doing, but fasting is something not doing, is abstaining from. So it's not very obvious. You're not drinking, you're not eating, you're not committing other maybe minor sins, for example, backbiting or seeing something we shouldn't supposed to see. All of these things are abstaining, so they are non-actions, they are not actions. So it's hard to see. So only you are, and Allah knows about it. So this intention, Allah rewards very well. And and then this is something is very important. The intentions are always given very too much emphasis, because all the actions are dependent upon the intentions. And this Ramadan is month of blessing, and you are looking for Allah's blessing and mercy. And again, one of the Prophet's hadiths, traditions that Allah doesn't give mercy or is not merciful to those who are not merciful to others. And this includes all human beings and Allah's creation. So when it comes to human beings, you need to be merciful to fellows around you. And what does this mean? It means you're more kind and you show kindness, starting from your family, your friends, your inner circle, and then community at large. And this is again one of the things. um I remember, I think it's Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. Some He was one of the companions of the Prophet. So a tabi, his follower, the Sahaba's followers are called tabi'in. One of those asked this companion, "Hey, again similar discussions, how you enter Ramadan?" And that they were entering Ramadan. And then in his answers, he shared, like we are sharing many things. And one of the things he shared that when we enter Ramadan, and he talked about himself and other companions during Prophet's time, that he said we made sure that we don't have grudge against anybody else when we are entering Ramadan. And then this is a very important lesson for us. We have this, sometimes with very close family members, we don't talk and we don't communicate because we had something happen in our lives, and we stop talking to each other. This can happen to our friends, our other community members. So you need to reach out and eliminate this thing from your heart when you are entering Ramadan. Again, one of those spiritual readiness before you enter Ramadan. We shouldn't be having grudge against anyone, and you should be in a prayer mode rather. You you pray for yourself and for others also, and pray to eliminate this grudge, this feeling um, between between each other. So again, these are a few of the things I wanted to at least share. Brother Salami, please.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So actually, Doctor has already covered everything. I'm just gonna follow based on what he said and just add maybe icing on top of the cake. All right. So when Doctor discussed issues about intention, ideally there is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that pointed to that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man sama Ramadanan imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi." Whoever fasts Ramadan, right, iman and out of faith and anticipation of Allah's reward, just for that. You see, the intention there is to anticipate Allah's reward. What did Allah say? Rasulullah said, "وَغُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ." So whatever someone did, like a sin that someone commit, Allah has forgiven that person, except shirk. So you see here, we need to um, purify our intention entering Ramadan. And just like also like brother said, it's an ibadah that nobody knows you are doing, right? So you think about not going around, especially in the community that we live at. You meet this person, oh yeah, you know what? I'm fasting today. You know what? So you see, you are showing up, right? That intention for the sake of Allah is not there because every action is judged upon by its intention. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Right. Then another thing also, brother mentioned here about what are the things that we need to live out of Ramadan. We need to stop eating, drinking, smoking, and all this stuff. Right. So now we should think about one thing also. We eat, we breathe, we sleep social media, right? And then also we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Authentic hadith reported from Rasulullah said, "Man lam yada' qawl az-zur wal 'amal bihi, falaysa lillahi hajatun fi an yada' ta'amahu wa sharabahu." Whoever did not distance himself from false talk, false speech, right, and also agreeing or acting upon that, so Allah is not interested in that person leaving, stop eating or drinking. If he likes, Ramadan, as long as we follow, we keep doing all, and we know 80% of what is happening in social media is a bunch of lies, right? So you interact with that, you engage with that. Allah said He doesn't even want you to stop your food or your drink. You should just continue to, meaning in the sense what? Your Ramadan is rejected. And also in the introductory part, Doctor mentioned about the extended nights that we spend in prayer, right? And it's meant or it's interrupt our normal daily sleeping schedule. Yeah, don't worry, you will sleep. I promise you, the day you die, you're gonna sleep like you don't even know for how many million years, right? So what about that? Give that time, right? Because also in another authentic hadith that was said, "Man qama ma'al imam imana wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi." That night prayers, Prophet said, whoever stand in prayers behind an imam from the beginning of Taraweeh to the end of Witr prayer, purposely for the seeking of the pleasure of Allah, Allah is also going to forgive all your sins. So yeah, we know it's just a month, right? It's just a month. How many hours are we going to give out of sleeping? We know it's important, but just a month, and we know the health benefit of doing the Ramadan in addition to the extended praying at night, right? So these are things that we look to look into, and as now we begin to prepare ourselves. One, we are doing this just for the sake of Allah, for nothing. And two, we are also in need, in anticipation of Allah's acceptance, and we continue to keep praying because whenever you do an act, Allah also loves those who what? Keep asking Allah for acceptance because all the messengers and the prophet they did something, right? But what? They go back and keep asking Allah for acceptance. So that the prophets, messengers themselves, إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين. Whatever they did, Allah said what? They go back and keep asking for our forgiveness, for acceptance, رغبا ورهبا, with anticipation, with fear that maybe Allah has accepted that or Allah did not accept that. So we should also put that in practice in this Ramadan. And may this Ramadan be the very beginning, new beginning for all of us. And Allah knows what is in our heart, what is in our intention. May He give us the opportunity to purify our intention and be able to do this act of ibadah righteously just for His sake. What time?
Jazakallah, Jazakallah, brother Abdulsallami. Um, I also wanna share that again. The what are when we entering a certain, let's say, an exercise schedule, we have something in mind what we are trying to get out of that exercise. So let's say you start going to gym, you want to build up muscle stamina or whatever, so that's your aim. So similar aim we need to have, like what I'm trying to get out of this Ramadan, you know what's in it for me. In other words, yes, I have good intention, I want to be close to Allah, but anything I can extra get out of this Ramadan. And something which comes to mind again based on the ayah that Allah has prescribed these fasting month, so we la'allakum tattaqun, so we increase in our taqwa, in our God consciousness. And God consciousness is just a broad category of attitudes, not only for ibadat, but also for our daily life routine. When we are, for example, And then similar things are for all the ibadat. When we are, for example, at our workplace, are we, doing our work with honesty? Not because somebody at work will catch us, just because we have this God consciousness in our heart that He's watching what I'm going to say in the day of judgment, what I did. So this fear of Allah and this you know concept of accountability with the belief if in day after. This is in simple words is God consciousness. And this we take it not in our masajid. God is not sitting in the masjid that you go and pray and then you do whatever the rest of the week or rest of the year after Ramadan. So this God consciousness we should aim to increase during this month of Ramadan, and it will be. And you will see yourself, as I shared earlier, our iman will be very high. So, what I'm trying to get out of this Ramadan is to increase my baseline at least. You will see this a curve which goes very high during Ramadan. And even like people who never go to masjid, who never pray, they start doing this during the month. But then what happens after Ramadan? That it just that curve goes down to the same baseline they were entering it with. We know that after Ramadan we will not sustain that level of iman. It's just that Ramadan's blessing that we are keeping that high level of iman. After that, we just should at least aim that our baseline is higher than when we enter this Ramadan. So I think I'm going to stop here. We have 15, 20 minutes. Then we have Isha time. So I'll open up for questions, and you can raise your hands. And I'm watching the chat too if somebody asks questions online. I'm not sure how many people are there online even because we had this technology issue. But we are open for questions. Yes, brother.
Yeah, this question is for either one. So when they say that the shaitan is shackled during the month of Ramadan, can we use that to reflect that our thought process is now innate?
So when you interpret these kind of traditions, the shayateen, they are shackled. So, but shaitan is still there, and when you say shaitan is shackled, it means like you are not opening that window for the shaitan that much during the Ramadan. He's still there, and his forces are still there. So you will see very good Muslims doing all the stuff during Ramadan too. That means they open that window. That closure to abstain from shayateen and their waswasa, we call it, their whispers, they they are more stronger in Ramadan. So when this is the true interpretation of that tradition, the shayateen, they are shackled, that they cannot influence you easier if you are doing what you are supposed to do in Ramadan compared to the rest of the year. It may be easier for them to attack and whisper you if you're doing if you're still doing the right thing. But in Ramadan, Allah has some special protection. They're going to be still there, and we shaitan. Let me give you an example. Shaitan, Surah Nas, when Allah says, "Allazi yuwaswisu fi sudur an-nas." So sudur means this rib cage, chest. It doesn't mean heart. So he's around you. But if you open your heart to him, he will enter and he will whisper, keep on whispering. And then, but if you have nur of Allah and his message, Quran and prophets, you know, traditions, and the more you do this ibadat, the more that the light in your heart prevents this shaitan whisper, which is already there in sudur, in the chest. So it's not going away; it diminishes, and we uh, just going to that same process. You go to gym, you won't feel like, hey, I can carry 100 pounds the second day. It takes a while. So the more you practice, and that's where this daily ibadat, and the more you practice during Ramadan, the next Ramadan you're looking at again, the same thing. My iman level will be higher after this Ramadan throughout the year, and then I'll increase it further in that opportunity when next Ramadan comes. Good question.
Also, so I will add this based on what Doctor also mentioned about the shayateen that are shackled. We know there are shayateen al-insi wal-jinn, right? Allah said, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. So here we will understand the big shaitan are the ones that are shackled. And you have a friend who can be your shaitan, right? Who will be the one to push you to open that heart so the big one, the president himself, is there. Because it's a promise. Allah is not going to do anything to Iblis until Yawm al-Qiyamah. So when you engage in your additional nafila, right? Allah is also going to help you, give you protection about the remaining shayateen that are around you. Because in the Hadith al-Qudsi, I just put it here, Allah said, وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. Whenever my servants get closer to me with nawafil, so ibadats that are not mandatory, like extra nafila, like recitation of Quran, addition, right? Hatta uhibbahu. Allah promised, when you do that, I will love you. Except that I will love that person. And Allah said, فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ. And when I love that person, كُنْتُمْ سَمْعَهُ الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ بِهِ. And I will be the hearer that he hears with. وَبَصَرَهُ الَّذِي يُبْصِرُ بِهِ. I will be the seeing that he sees with. وَيَدَهُ الَّذِي يَبْطِشُ بِهَا. And I'm going to be his hand that he grips something with. وَرِجْلَهُ الَّتِي يَمْشِي بِهَا. And I will be his foot that he used to go to play. So Allah will direct what you listen to, what you hear, what you hold, where you go, just by what? Right? Closing that and doing more of nawafil during this month and beyond. May Allah make it easy for us.
Good question. Any other question? So,
I'll answer the question.
I can. Yes. I'll repeat your question. No problem. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, does brushing your teeth after the adhan, does that break your fast?
Good question. So, fasting is broken by anything if you swallow. If you don't swallow, it doesn't break your fast. So, I know the toothpaste we use, it has sugar. It can dissolve in the mouth. So that's why after it's preferred that before the fajr starts that you don't you brush your teeth and then maybe use the miswak, Prophet Sunnah. It's more advisable, but it doesn't um, break your fast because swallowing that breaks your fast. So as long as you don't swallow, uh, and you spit it out, that's okay. We, for example, do wuzu during fasting. We don't swallow, we spit it out when we're doing wuzu. So that's similar. That's how kind of scholars said um, about this thing too. As long as you don't swallow. Good question. So when do you start? So I'm going to ask question. I'm going to answer myself. That's good, just for education purpose. Unless you guys start asking question, so then I can answer. So we should utilize this time very well. Any other question? Yes.
So charity. There is a general tendency that I'm going to wait till Ramadan when I begin charity.
Uh-huh.
And then there's also something to push it to the edge. I'm going to wait for the 27th night.
Uh-huh.
Is it better to give it consistently, persistently, or what? Share some thoughts on that.
Very good question too. So for in Quran, um, the charity word is used in that ayah which orders us to give zakat, and they are zakat eligible people. And beyond that, sadaqah, and sadaqah is also called charity. See what I'm saying? So this confuses people, the English word charity. So I'm gonna answer you in Arabic words. I'm gonna say zakat, which is compulsory, and I'm going to then talk about sadaqah, which is on top of zakat. So throughout Muslim community, and I lived in in Arab world, Kuwait, Pakistan, England, and here I have seen people that they give zakat. There's zakat, compulsory zakat during Ramadan, every Ramadan. So, and then they want to give it on for to get the highest benefit during the last 10 days. And in many countries, although this is a tradition, which is one tradition, the most authentic tradition is that, the odd nights of the last 10 days is Laylatul Qadr. But many people believe that it's 27th because of another tradition, which is not that authentic. So that's why the idea is that to give on those days your zakat, at least, and then get the higher benefit too, also fulfilling your compulsory obligation. So this is one concept which Ummah took, which is not any like Sahaba did this. It's just kind of continued because we have to give our zakat once a year, and this solar year or calendar year we have was not the year which throughout the Islamic history, Ummah followed. They followed the lunar year. So they have to give zakat once a year. That means Ramadan, we're going to give our zakat. So this is the background of it, that why people want to give only in Ramadan during that time. And that's why people wait for it. Now, sadaqah, of course, charitable work, everything you do, any ibadah, even prayers, their reward is higher during the fasting month, Ramadan. So that's why you will see most people wait to not open their pockets throughout the year, but in Ramadan they are very generous. And it's not just that, it's just the level of iman, the belonging to the masjid, the belonging to the community is higher. You'll see people who will never come to the masjid except Friday prayers. But now most of them are suddenly here every Taraweeh, and they are relating, and they are more connecting with people who they are maybe in need, the other people within our community, and then they want to give, and they see that no masjid, the masjid needs help to run, and masjid is run. This is not a Muslim country, and believe me, in many Muslim countries, government doesn't sponsor anything to the masajid, and all the masajid are run through donations. So when they are belonging is more, then they see that, and they start donating more to the masjid for their good work. So these are the reasons why people give are more generous during the Ramadan. But this is a very good question. It also brings me another thing we should prepare, which I didn't mention, especially that this Ramadan, this fasting has this personal reflection that I have food in front of me, but I'm not eating, and this connects me to those people who don't have food in front of them. Especially the world affairs we see in many countries. There are droughts in many African countries. They don't have water. They didn't have agriculture the way it should be. They're relying on donations from Europe and other countries to send food. So, especially Gaza, what's going on? Those poor Muslims, small children, their feeling of hunger. We connect more during Ramadan, and then when we have this feeling, we donate more. And you will see that, especially this year, the environment, the feeling of Muslim Ummah, what's happening around the world, is at a different level. You'll see, and you will, inshallah, see more generosity. Welcome, brothers. We are just discussing Ramadan and how we should prepare, and we are going through the last kind of few minutes, question answers. Any other question? So when should we stop eating? When the azan starts or when the azan finishes? When the azan starts. So, because sometimes you may start the longest azan ever, which gives you like 10 minutes to eat. We don't do it. It's funny, like in here, we don't hear azan, but in most Muslim countries, you don't have one masjid, you have like 10 masjids around you. And one person starts making azan, and I know, and I did that too. I'm gonna start I'm gonna stop eating when the last person starts azan because I go by that azan. We don't have that, so we go by our azan timing from our phone, the authentic apps you have, and follow those. This also reminds me of another thing. Ramadan starts on Monday based on our calculated ISNA and all the major organizations in USA. They advise based on scholars' opinion that this is how we're gonna start Ramadan on Monday. But this is a beautiful tradition to go out and see if you can look at the moon just to follow the sunnah of Prophet, what Sahaba used to do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam and radiallahu anhuma, that you go out and try to look on Sunday night, see if you can capture the moon. I know it's Ramadan night, and Monday we're gonna start, inshallah, our month of Ramadan, but just to follow the sunnah. And there's many places there which are okay in downtown Lancaster, maybe buildings will obstruct, but all around this county is open air, very obvious. Hopefully, inshallah, it will be clear sky. Try to capture the moon and see it if you can see it yourself with your eyes, and take your family and kids with you, just to remind them what is our beautiful tradition has been. And same, you're gonna do it for Eid. Even we know that this is the day of Eid, but just again bringing that sunnah, that tradition. Go out and look at the moon yourself. Any other thing?
Let me see what about charity.
Brothers, Abdulsallami will talk about charity.
Yeah, I'll just add a word about charity, right? Because doing it at the beginning of Ramadan or at the end of Ramadan, think about if you see the beginning of Ramadan, are you sure you're going to see the end of Ramadan? Right. So whenever you feel it's time, you want to give it out, just give it out. Right. If Allah elongates your life and you see the end of Ramadan, then you can also give more to that. Because sometimes الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالمعروف وينهى عنكم. Right? الشيطان يعدكم الفقر. It is the Iblis who is like, just delay, maybe wait until that time. To the point before then, if you intend to give, let's say $100 at the beginning of Ramadan, towards the end of Ramadan, he bring many, many things. You end up maybe giving 20 or $10. Right. So the moment you have the money, right, just come to the box, put it up. People are here hungry. People masjid runs a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't really know of. Right. So just give it out whenever you have the money. Don't wait to that khutbah of Iblis. Inshallah.
Inshallah, and do read Quran. Inshallah, we'll have it's our 8:30, so we're gonna conclude this meeting. But we'll have regular Taraweeh and opportunity to listen to Quran. But during weekends, or if you have more time at home, try to open Quran and read with comprehension, translation. Try to connect with the Quran. Quality is more important in Allah's eyes than quantity. We have this tradition. I'm gonna finish, 4 times Quran in Ramadan. That's great. You can do that if 5 times, 6 times. But at some point, we need to comprehend what Quran is saying to us, and this comes with, it's translated in every language now. And if Arabic is not strong, that's okay. You read translation of that ayah while you're reading Quran, and try to get the lesson and see how that ayah applies to you. Whatever is in the Quran, this is a month of Quran again, is there for a reason. Even one single ayah, it applies to us. We just have to find out how it applies to us. There are many small tafsir, everything free online now. If you have time, try to search those in Google or on the internet rather than anything else during Ramadan. And try to stay away from social media, because whatever you reply, comment, who knows what you are doing, what effect it has on other people. And sometimes it comes under riba, and sometimes rudeness, and you want to abstain. Talk less during Ramadan. Recite tasbih of Allah, and if you know surahs, driving, when you are idle, not actively talking to other people during work. Try to bring these things in your mind, and try to talk less during Ramadan. It's again, the exercise is not doing things, not eating, not drinking, not doing things which Allah dislikes, and we're gonna go closer to Allah. So inshallah, we're gonna conclude with the dua. Sami.
صلى على النبي الكريم. الحمد لله الذي يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير، هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك نبنا وإليك المصير. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين. اللهم أطعمهم من جوع وأمنهم من خوف. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين. اللهم دمر الكفر والكافرين وأعداء الدين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
Jazakallah. I